Join us to navigate your awakening as we share the ancient science of transformation. Practicing this ancient wisdom will help you tune into your power and unlock your greatest potential. If you are ready to embark on your awakening and discover your soul path, then please welcome your host and transformation expert, Trenayce.
Welcome to Navigating the Awakening. I am your host, Trenayce. Thank you for joining me today. I greet you in the love and in the light of the Infinite Creator. I would like to begin with the internal light meditation so that we can all align our energies with the cosmos, with the universal light of Source. If you are driving or listening to this and not able to close your eyes, then please simply open your heart and allow the intention of healing to move through you. Allow each breath to relax you more and more as we go deeper. Let's begin. First breath in. Breathe out. Second breath in. Breathe out. Third breath in. Breathe out. Relax. Allow your breaths to find their natural rhythm. With each breath in, allow yourself to become centered and focused. And with each exhalation, release all tension and stress, any mental distractions or images, and allow yourself to be in this moment in meditation. Focus your attention on the center of your chest. See your internal light as it illuminates your heart, as it fills your heart with brilliant, healing, white light. Continue to see this light as it removes all heavy, negative, or dark energies, filling your heart with peace, love, joy, and forgiveness. And now see the light as it continues to grow brighter and brighter with each and every breath, spreading in all directions throughout your chest, moving into your lungs, filling your lungs with healing energies, and allowing each and every breath to be cleansing, revitalizing, and rejuvenating. And now see this light as it spreads throughout your entire chest, moving up into your shoulders, down into your arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, moving into your palms and fingertips, allowing for healing energies to flow through your palms, radiating out into the world and all around you. Continue to see the light as it moves up through your neck, releasing tension and stress, moving into your cheeks, your ears, your nose, your eyes, your forehead, and moving up into your crown, activating the connection with your higher self, allowing for clear communication, clear downloads. And now see this light as it flows down into the diaphragm and your stomach, bringing healing through deeper breaths, releasing all energies that no longer serve your highest good. See the light as it moves into the small intestine and the large, activating healing through the absorption of your light energies and your nutrients. Continue to see the light as it flows into the kidneys, the liver, the gallbladder, the spleen, the pancreas, and the bladder. All of your organs, tissues, and cells are now filled with healing light, bringing you into perfect balance, perfect health, aligning you with all that is good, all that is desired. And now see this light as it flows into the colon, the uterus, the sex organs, bringing balance to these organs, these parts of you that are focused on releasing energies that no longer serve you, as well as the reproduction of your energies. Allow yourself to receive the power, the courage, the wisdom, and the knowing that allows you to have the discernment needed to release all energies, physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally, that do not serve your highest good. Continue to see the light as it flows through your hips, moving through your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, and moving into the soles of your feet. You are now filled with healing light, bringing you into perfect balance, perfect health. Continue to see the light as it flows through the soles of your feet, turning into silver cords that move deep into Mother Earth, anchoring you and grounding you, allowing for any excess energies to flow through these cords, to be used by Mother Earth to create something beautiful. And now, see the light that grows within you growing brighter and brighter with each and every breath. Allow this energy to expand and move beyond your being, passing through the pores in your body. And now you are surrounded in a beautiful healing bubble of white light. See this light as it contains all of the colors of the rainbow, which are all the frequencies of light needed to bring you physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally back into balance. Allow any organs to absorb the colors needed for their perfection, their healing, the balance. Continue to see this light as it now spreads and fills the room, the space that you are in, bringing healing to anyone and anything that passes through this energy. See the light as it passes through the walls, easily moving out into your environment, to spread throughout your city, your town, your village, to go easily through any obstacles. Bring it all into balance, into light, allowing for all beings that come in contact with this light, that desire to be a part of it, to be reminded of their own light, and to become one with it. Continue to spread the light throughout your city, your state, your country, until all of our lights join together throughout the world, strengthening each and every one of us in healing powers, bringing our body, mind, spirit complex into oneness, to be rebalanced, to be reconnected to source energy. Allow this light to continue to grow brighter and brighter, exuding the highest vibrations of love, peace, joy, and oneness. See the light as it moves through the earth, into the interior, and to the core of Mother Earth, raising the vibration of the planet on which we live, bringing love and light to all those that are subterranean dwellers. Continue to see our light as it grows brighter and brighter, as it now moves out into the atmosphere around the planet, healing the air that we breathe and removing anything that is around our planet, on our planet, or within our planet that does not serve our highest good. Dissolving it easily, increasing the light as we go. And now see it as we all are one. Our light is bright. It is one. And we continue onward out into our universe, spreading the light, connecting with other lights, becoming stronger, more vibrant, more colorful, more powerful, until our light spreads to the ends of the multiverse. And all of the family of light, no matter where we are reconnected, remembering our oneness, remembering our unity, and the power of our light, and the power of our love. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your light with me. Okay, so now let's start a very good conversation on the last two planets that we need to look at for cosmic opportunities. And as we move along in these series, we will speak of the planets when needed as they change and move signs, move through constellations. We'll bring them back up. But today we have two final planets, and it will be Neptune and Pluto. So we have been discussing the opportunities that each planet, including the sun, is offering us at this time. Now that we will look at Neptune and Pluto, we know that these two planets are very significant because they have long transits, and they both are called generational planets, as well as Uranus. So their effects will be felt for a very long time throughout humanity and what we call history. So now let's look at Neptune. This planet is currently in Pisces, which it rules. So it's very happy here. And it has been here since April of 2011 and will be until March of 2025. It will move into Aries at that time and then retrograde back into Pisces again until January of 2026. So Neptune has approximately 165-year transit, which means the last time it was in Pisces was from the year 1848 until 1862. So to say that you are living in powerful times is an understatement when we remind ourselves how long it will be before we as humanity will get this opportunity again. So you have to ask, what have we been challenged with for the last 13 years because of this transit? And what is the opportunity that it is giving us? So Spirit says one way to look at the planets and constellations is to see them as forces that play out within us and around us to challenge us to grow in some way. Spirit also says the planets represent parts of our own psyche or archetypal forces that are within us, and the constellations represent states of consciousness that we pass through as we grow. So as you can see, this is a very deep subject, And that is why the ancients took this study very seriously. To give you an example, we say that Pisces is the constellation that Neptune, the planet, has been moving through. So Pisces represents a state of consciousness that says, I believe, therefore I am. And Neptune represents an archetypal force within us that deals deeply with our spirituality. It is the part of us that is always seeking to understand higher vibrations and divine love. So when Neptune is moving through the dimension of Pisces, it feels very much at home here. This is the planet that rules our deep emotions that are connected to love and decision making. Also, in our native Earth astrology, Pisces pretty much represents the Cougar people. So this is a powerful placement for Neptune, and you are being given the opportunity to decide if you want to be a saint or a sinner. Are you looking for a spiritual quest or a party fest, as Dr. Stanley would say? Since April of 2011, you've been challenged with defeating the lower aspects of yourself that cause you to fall into delusion. You've been trying to figure out what kind of high you want. Are you working on your spiritual development so that you can reach higher states of consciousness? Or are you trying to find that high by using drugs of some kind? This is the challenge that Neptune and Pisces brings us. You've been given the opportunity, with the help of your Neptunian energy, to break free of old habits that no longer serve you. Your challenge is to let go and move on. And this could be something that has challenged your entire bloodline. You could be breaking a pattern of addiction for your entire family, or the patterns of being in abusive and unloving relationships. You could also be breaking the patterns of belief. You may be the first in your family to choose spirituality over religion. This is one of the ways that Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto work as generational planets. They give us the opportunity to break generational patterns. This is really a deep subject, and we could talk about this all day. But I want you to remember that Neptune rules your delusions and illusions, as well as your spiritual quest and the nature in which you love. When this planet is in retrograde, which it does every year for about 5 months, you will find it more difficult to see or feel things clearly. But when it moves direct, you will have more clarity in your life. It will be easier for you to make decisions and to see things more clearly. I love the way that Dr. Stanley puts it. She says, taking into account that Neptune has the ability to make us a saint or a sinner, Neptune and Pisces can easily go into spiritual excess. But how we get there is the key point. Some may choose alcohol or drugs to reach nirvana, while others may choose philosophy, religion, meditation, etc., in order to get there. This will be our choice, and this will either cause us to step into our power or to relinquish it to our lower nature. Finally, I would like to remind you that Neptune rules your feet and your blood. So this is a great time for you to give your feet a little extra love and to begin to detox both your feet and your blood. You will find that detoxing your feet will not only help you have better health, but it will also help you find more clarity in your thoughts. Use the plant totem of the Cougar people, plantain, to assist with cleansing your blood and strengthening your overall health. Turquoise can also assist you in your spiritual pursuits. And remember that Saturn is also in Pisces at this time, so that will intensify this internal fight with your inner light and darkness. And we also have the sun there as of today. We are in the time of Pisces, the solar return of Pisces and the sun. So this is a time when you can really look deeply, and wherever the sun is, it is shining a light in that area of your life. So working more deeply within the water element of your being is being called upon for you at this time. And when we look into our native earth astrology, when we look into the Cougar people, you will find that you may be affected in different ways, Cougar people, because of these transits through your sign, through your energy. It may cause you to want to be more by yourself in your deep thought, or it may cause you to want to get out, to be around people more, to see what's really going on out there. Are you missing anything? Because Cougars tend to be more loners, and then they have a time when they really do want to be around others. So it can affect you in different ways depending on where you are in your spiritual journey. So allow yourself. This is a time when you can allow yourself to feel what you feel and to make sure that you are allowing the light to grow within your heart, because wherever the sun is, it's bringing greater light. It's bringing the warmth of knowledge, of wisdom, of greater understanding. It's bringing you that ability to just nurture yourself, to allow yourself to rest if you need to. And if you have been over the winter away from people, this gives you the opportunity to now go out and renew yourself and to find your crowd, to find your tribe. Where are they? And begin to allow yourself to do that. Don't stop yourself from being able to feel what you want to feel, because again, Pisces is that water and they have a lot of emotions. But with this Neptune moving through you, you've really been dealing with your emotions a lot. And because it has definitely intensified that. So it's been a time for you to really master your emotions since 2011. And you have another year, if not another year and a half, to really work on this. And as a collective, we all have this time to really look deeply into what it is that we want in life and where are we going. Are we on a spiritual path? Are we looking for a spiritual journey in our life? Are we really dedicated to it? Or are we just looking for another pastime? It's a really great question to ask yourself. So now let's look at Pluto. We will look more deeply into the cosmic opportunities that Pluto is offering us at this time, as it has just entered into the constellation of Aquarius and will be there for the next 19 years until March of 2043. Now, this is definitely going to be a time of breaking generational patterns. We have 19 years to work with this energy. Pluto has a 248-year transit around the sun. So this is not only a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but it is a once-in-a-240-year opportunity. And we get to have it. Just think about that. Just think about that. This is extremely powerful that you are on the planet at this time. We have spoken a lot about Pluto up to this point. And so what more do we want to say about this opportunity that Pluto is giving us? Each time we look at this planet or archetypal state of consciousness, we look at it through a different lens. And from this perspective, Pluto is challenging us as well as giving us the opportunity to live our best life. But before we can get there, we got to clean our closet out. But, isn't that the way? When we really get on our path, we need to go and start to clean up within our hearts, within our minds, and even it manifests in our lives, in our home, maybe your car, Maybe you've been wanting to get that trunk cleaned out. You're going to start feeling this because this is the time to go deep. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, which it is now, it is a time of freedom, but it's freedom through a cleansing process. So we may have to detox, and there's going to be a lot of detoxing going on this planet because this is affecting everyone, the mass consciousness. Aquarius represents the human consciousness, all of us. And we will all be experiencing something different depending on where we are vibrationally. But no matter what it is, however it manifests in our life, it is always happening to help you elevate, to help you release, again, what no longer is needed. And I think we're going to keep hearing that for the next 19 years. Because in order for us to take this opportunity seriously and to live our best life, then we've got some cleaning up to do. And it may not even have to do with us personally. It may just have to be with the bloodline we were born into. That we chose to be here at this time, to be incarnated, to assist humanity in this purging process. And so, this is what Pluto is offering us. We have the opportunity to die to our old selves and to be reborn in a higher state of consciousness, into a higher vibration. This is personal as well as collective. We are being inspired to free ourselves from our inner darkness by doing the hard work and developing our internal light. Pluto is giving us the opportunity to let go of everything that no longer serves us on every level. Aquarius represents the collective consciousness and the need to work together in harmony to manifest what we want. We have the opportunity to dissolve a lot of darkness that has been haunting humanity for a very long time. Now, if we choose to use this time wisely, we can change the world for the better and put humanity on a higher path to enlightenment. We are the ones that get to choose. And that is a powerful, powerful thing because it'll be another 240-something years before this will happen again. So just think the opportunity that you have right now and all of the opportunities of being born at this time and see yourself as a vessel of light, as a vessel of change that will not only transform your own life, but you're here to assist humanity in this transformation process. So through our collective efforts, we will transform this planet and make it a better place to be. And I guarantee you, in 20 years, we will see it all in a manifest form. It is a growth process, and it will continue to change, and it will continue to grow. But this is the time that we are changing it just through our desire and our consciousness to make a difference in this world. Now, Pluto in esoteric astrology is a planet of transformation through love. And one way to interpret Pluto moving into Aquarius is love moving into the hearts of the people. Now, for more information on Pluto in Aquarius, because we did discuss this more, please listen to our episode on the Thunderbird clan. That would be episode 16. So now, after our station break, we will discuss the ancient mystery schools and the significance of the planet Venus. We'll be right back in just a moment.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, Om Times Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Awaken the Healing, Reclaim Your Life is a podcast that will change your life. If you are interested in expanding your consciousness and being self-empowered, then please tune in to our show. You can find us at awakenthehealing.com or on your favorite podcast app or platform. It's time for you to reclaim your life.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
If I could be you,
and you could be me for just 1 hour,
if you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back to Navigating the Awakening. Now let's begin a very deep conversation that will last for months because we have a lot to get into on the ancient mystery school teachings. This is going to be a very esoteric conversation. So let's first define that word. We will define the word esoteric so everyone is on the same page. Now, according to our modern dictionaries, esoteric means intended for or likely to be understood only by a small number of people with a specialized knowledge or interest. And that will be you. You will be able to discuss esoteric subjects after listening to this show because the things we're going to get into, the studies we're going to dive deep into are profound. They are profound. And this is absolutely where the word esotericist came from. The people who study esoteric subjects will be called esotericists. And this means they have a special knowledge. They are informed about things that are usually kept secret. Now, let's also look at the definition for the word occult, because people start freaking out when they hear these words without really knowing what they mean. According to our modern dictionaries, occult means hidden information, supernatural, mystical, or magical practices or phenomena. A secret society to study alchemy and the occult. And that is how you will hear that word used. And that is exactly what we're going to dive into. We're going to dive into secret, hidden information. But what I find interesting is a lot of information that is considered occult you can find in books. But those books are hidden. They're not easy to find. And a lot of information from the ancient mystery schools is still handed down orally because we've discussed this before. Everything cannot be written down. Once it's written down, then it seems to get lost or hidden on purpose. And then it can be held away from people. So different societies are created. Different groups have come together over times of antiquity to secure this information. And their entire lifespan is spent in remembering and passing on the information. So we are living in a time now where this is unknown. People don't talk about this every day the way they used to. There was a time when people spent their entire lives searching out these books. They traveled the world. Archaeologists, they became archaeologists. But archaeologists are famous for finding things that have been hidden. And so it was a great field to go into at a certain time to be able to find lost knowledge. But today we are blessed with many people who have come before us over the last thousands of years that have spent their lives sharing this information with the next generation and passing it on. And Spirit calls these people as mainly male groups that we know of today, but the grandsons of the goddess. And that is how Spirit introduced this information to me. Because we've moved through a period of time where women were almost completely annihilated on the planet. And so they became very powerless. So we went from matriarchs, where the women were the head of not only learning, growing the societies, expanding knowledge, spirituality, all of those fields were headed by women, to a time where we've gone into a patriarchal rule. And what we know of matriarchal rule is nothing like what we have experienced under patriarchal rule. Matriarchal rule was more like how a mother is within a home. She loves all of her children. And she is sharing the power and the knowledge with everyone. And this is how the matriarchs will run. And there will be a time when our studies will begin to move into the history of the matriarchs. But at this time, we are going to move into the lost knowledge of the ancient mystery schools. Now, I want you to understand that the meaning of words have changed. And according to the time that we live in and the practices of the society that we exist in, the meanings change. And so whenever we need to translate something from one era to another, we have to think about, what is society experiencing now? How would this relate to us at this time? What is the language that we use? And even if we went back 100 years, it could be very difficult to read some of those books because of the language. And some of them still speak the Queen's language, which is given to us from the British. And it could be more difficult for us today to understand it. So some of these books and sacred scrolls and information have been translated to give you the modern information, the modern meaning of these words. But still, when we do that, we lose something, because we can never really go back and retrace what it meant at that time, because we're not living in that time. So you would have to time travel. And in some instances, we're going to have to stretch our minds and begin to do a little time traveling just to see what was going on in those times, in that era, on this planet. But the beautiful thing is, we don't have to do that for all the information. And that's great, because some of it is just clear. It doesn't matter what time it was shared in. The message is clear. And so when we look at the practices and the societies that exist on our planet today, they have a commonality. And the commonality is basically our world has become very materialistic. And when we begin to study ancient teachings, ancient mystery schools, you will see that instead of materialism, they were looking for spiritual knowledge, spiritual growth, because they knew that the spirit does not die with the body, that the spirit continues on. And so their emphasis was not on building up a world based on materialism, even though they were masters at creating material things. You can see all the artwork, all of the beautiful architecture that we can travel around the world and see that they haven't even been able to reproduce since ancient times. You can see they were masters at creating physical objects. But they created those things because they mastered something else. They mastered the knowledge of the soul, the power of your soul, the energy of who you truly are. And for me, this has always been a fascinating subject. It's always been absolutely fascinating to me to read about ancient scriptures and knowledge and wisdom. And so you can say that since I was 19 years old, I have dedicated my life to this study. So I want to share a lot of this with you. So at this time on this planet, when we use the words occult and esoteric, they're rarely used because people no longer seek out these answers to the deeper questions of life. But we know from the olden days, these words were very common. And we rarely can go back just 100 years ago and find anyone who wasn't speaking of these occult sciences, because at that time it was very much present on our earth and definitely in our Western world. In the 1920s, wow, how many lectures were going on out there about ancient mystery school knowledge. So at that time, people prided themselves with knowledge about the ancient secrets of life and the journey of the soul. They spent their lifetime. You have Napoleon Hill, who was around at that time, and who wrote some incredible books. And I would encourage you to look up Napoleon Hill if you don't know anything about him. And for those of you who know about Napoleon Hill, he was very much one of the generational transformers. He changed the way everyday people thought about manifesting in their life. So, and there were many things that he taught about that were pretty much edited out of his books because at that time, he could not speak about the spiritual adventures or spiritual powers or your abilities of the spirit because it was shunned upon in the public eye. But again, it was these secret societies, these secret groups that were studying this, and there were a lot of them present at that time. So as we venture down this path, we will discuss many things. And of course, we will only touch on these tremendously deep subjects to arouse your curiosity into the journey of your own soul. Now, I can offer you bits of wisdom to help you navigate your awakening, and then it's up to you to do your research. You need to do more research on these topics, and I guarantee you they will lead you down so many more corridors of ancient knowledge that you will spend the rest of your life studying this. Now, in time, I do plan to offer some classes that will dive deeper into these teachings, but for now, we will begin to scratch the surface of these massive esoteric subjects. So now let's begin with the ancient Egyptians. And you know that is a very big subject because we can go back into antiquity with ancient Egypt. And there's many, many different dynasties, if you will, of the ancient mystery schools. So lots of mysteries around these people, and they were definitely worthy to be called gods because no one has been able to recreate what they have left for us to see. But we must ask, who were they? And where did they come from? There's obviously much debate about this, as over time, history has been rewritten with every conquest of that land from antiquity. But there are ancient societies that still exist today, and they are very much a secret, as very few know of their existence. In times past, as I mentioned earlier, there have been groups that have formed to study ancient scrolls and other information that may have simply been handed down orally over thousands of years. There are secret societies that represent the light, and there are those that represent the darkness. So having discernment is of the greatest import at this time. I have always been interested in this type of information on ancient Egyptian history, spiritual alchemy, and other ancient cultures that have existed on our planet, including the ancient Hindu culture, because so much that we have today originated from there. And very few people know of this. And we will discuss some of these findings in future shows. But Spirit has always guided my steps to help me find sources that were of the divine light, to help me avoid the traps of darkness. And what I find most interesting is that I have been led in many different ways to many different sources that confirm one another. This, for me, is proof that there has to be some truth to this. Because I was not raised in a family that was part of a secret society, I had to find all of this information on my own, with the help of Spirit, of course. But I had no one to lead me. And as I look back, that was probably the best way, because Spirit kept me safe and continues to, as my life has been transformed by the information, much of what I will share with you. And this is why I am here today. I want to share some of these profound truths with you and encourage you to begin to dig deeply for yourself. I will share some of the books I have studied, but not everything has come to me from a book. I have had some personal experiences, some anomalies, if you will, that I cannot explain. But I know they happen to give me more proof. You will begin to see that everything is connected and that all truth will lead back to itself. Lies tend to fall off and they leave loose ends that don't seem to match up with anything. Our job is to study, to stay in a state of observation until the pieces of the puzzle begin to speak to you. And then you will have some aha moments for yourself. There is no one else sharing this type of information with humanity over a podcast or a radio show. This is information that most people still do not know because most people just aren't looking for it. But I have been searching for this truth my entire life, even as a child. I experienced a lot of things that some would call anomalies and others would call paranormal. Whatever you choose to call them, they showed me as a child that there is a lot more to our planet and our lives than we know about, and definitely more than what we're being told. I have experienced many things, and this is why I have spent my life looking for answers. No adults could explain anything to me, and I found that perplexing because they were supposed to be the teachers. But as I grew older, I began to see that most people don't believe in anything more than what they can see. They simply were not looking, and that is why they couldn't see the things the Spirit was showing me. I had an experience one day as a young child, and I want to share it with you. And this is really where a lot of my questions came from. It started when I was very young. One day, I came home from school, and I was probably in the first or second grade at this point, and I used to love to come home to watch Gilligan's Island. This was one of our regular TV shows in the 70s, and I would run home to catch it as it began. We had a large television set in the living room, and it was nothing like the sizes we have today. But in that day, it was pretty big. It had that big picture tube within it, and all of the knobs for color and contrast on the back of it. We actually had to use an antenna that sat on top of the TV, and sometimes you had to move that antenna around in order to get a good signal. Now, I know some of you know what I'm talking about, and in some countries, they actually still use these things. But anyway, I am sharing something with you that was tangible, and it has never left my mind. This and many other experiences since then have convinced me that there is so much that we don't understand about the world that we are living in. Well, that day when I got home, I was watching Gilligan's Island, and it was almost at the end of the show. They were running toward the beach because there was a boat out at sea, and they were trying to signal to the boat. And for those who don't know what that show is all about, Gilligan's Island, these people got stranded on a deserted island, and they were always trying to get off. And that pretty much is what the show was about. Anyway, they were running to the beach and yelling and waving things to catch the attention of the people passing by on the boat. And just as they were yelling, my television started to get all staticky, and I had to move that antenna around. Then I started messing with the knobs on the back of the television to try to straighten the picture out again. I then noticed that they were no longer yelling at the boat, and I heard them saying, "What is that? What is that?" And they were looking up into the sky. Now, I had messed up the color by turning the knobs the wrong way in the back of the TV. And when I came around to the front to see what they were talking about, the color of the screen was now all red, and they seemed to be able to see it. Now, as I began to turn the knobs more, they began to scream and run back into the jungle. They were seeing the colors change in the sky as I turned the knobs. And I guarantee you, we all went running for help. I ran into my sister's room to tell her about what happened, and when she came out, the credits were rolling on the screen. Now, I know I was young at that time, but I was quite aware of what was going on. It just didn't fit. Something was wrong. How could they see what I was doing? And it seemed as though no matter what I did, they responded to it. And so that made me play with things more. And when I realized they were seeing what I was doing, it really freaked me out. But I have never forgotten this. And I guess you can say it was one of my first quantum or paranormal events that I witnessed. This is one of the events of my childhood that caused me to ask a lot of questions that no adult could answer. And since that time, I have found many of those answers. And there is a peculiar thing that happens. The more you learn, the more you find out how much you really don't know. And this has been the journey of my life. So now I would love to share another event with you that caused me to read a series of books called The Law of One, The Raw Material. But for the sake of time, we will have to share that one later. Suffice it to say, I had the first book in the series on my bookshelf for about 10 years before being able to read it. Now, these books are highly recommended, but they can be difficult to read if it is not time for you to understand or understand what is inside of them. Now, I just couldn't pick up that book and read it no matter how many times I tried. It seemed like gibberish to me. But when it was time for me to read it, I comprehended every word. So if what I am going to share with you sounds like gibberish, just come back in a year or so, because this information is for you and it will resonate with you at another time. We will begin in book number 4 of the Law of One series on page 116. This book focuses on astrology, the archetypal mind, and the ancient tarot. We are told that Ra, the messenger of the Law of One, gave the Egyptians the tarot over 11,000 years ago. Ra tells us that the concept of the tarot originated within the planetary influence of what we call Venus. They say that the tarot was created by the population of Venus when they were still experiencing a third-dimensional consciousness. Now, this information that I will share with you about the tarot is absolutely fascinating, but it will have to wait till next week. Tune in as we continue our discussion on the Ancient Mystery School teachings and learn more about the magical personality and the planet of Venus. I leave you in the love and in the light of the Infinite Creator. Have a beautiful week.